All right, guys. Today we are gonna be reacting to Tom Homan tapped by Trump to return as a border czar. He's basically the new border czar. Jump in.
President-elect Trump's new cabinet is starting to take shape because overnight, while you were sleeping, he tapped Tom Homan to be his border czar.
Trump saying, quote, "There is nobody better at policing and controlling our borders." Likewise, Tom Homan will be in charge of all deportation of illegal aliens back to their country of origin.
He worked with the president to come up with this job description, so let's hear from him. In his first interview after the major announcement, incoming border czar Tom Homan. Tom, congratulations to you. It's bad for us. We lose you as a contributor. What went into the decision and the position?
Well, look, I've been on this network 4 years complaining about what this administration did to this border. I've been yelling and screaming about it, telling them what they need to do to fix it. So when the president asked me, would you come back and fix it? Of course I have to. I'd be a hypocrite if I didn't. So, look, I'm honored the president asked me to come back and help solve this national security crisis. So I'm looking forward to it. And look, I love Fox. I love the family there. But I think that the calling is clear. I got to go back and help because every morning I get up. Every morning I'm pissed off about what this administration did to the most secure border in my lifetime. So I'm going to go back and do what I can to fix it.
So, Tom, let's talk.
Yeah, just imagine being this guy, knowing that this could be fixed very easily by simply deporting illegal immigrants. But the current administration is simply just allowing this problem to happen because at the end they want to present the solution. You know what the solution is? Mass amnesty. They create a problem and then they provide the solution, and the solution is always worse than the problem.
About the job, because you're not an amateur. You've been doing this for years. You're a beat cop. Also, you worked the border before, went over to ICE. You've done it all. What does the process look like? Because I think some people get the impression that you're shooting from your hip, but you know what you're doing here, right?
I know exactly what I'm doing. And look, this is the second time I get out of retirement for this president. And because it matters. And look, I was a border patrol agent. I wore that uniform, and I'm proud that I wore that uniform. So, and I was an ICE agent. I was the first ICE director who actually came up through the ranks. So the 20,000 men and women that worked for me, I didn't ask them to do anything. I did do myself. I was one of them. So look, I know the border, and I know there's a lot of great patriots. Look, I shut my phone off Friday night because I couldn't handle the phone calls, the texts, and emails from thousands of ICE agents and border patrol agents excited about the rumor I'm coming back. But more importantly, that thousands of retired agents, retired border patrol agents, retired military that want to come in and volunteer to help this president secure the border and do the deportation operation. So I've been off the grid for 3 days just because I couldn't handle all the phone calls, and plus all the death threats rolling in. My family's not at home right now because that's starting. But that's something we're going to deal with. They're not going to bully me away. They're not going to shut me up. They're not going to make me go away. This is the biggest national security vulnerability this nation has seen since 9/11. We have to fix it.
And it's one of the reasons Kamala Harris lost and Donald Trump won. So Tom, you just mentioned deportations. I know during the last Trump administration, when you were there, they did have the large-scale worksite, essentially raids, where they would go into a place and there would be hundreds of people who were in the country illegally. I know on 60 Minutes a couple of weeks ago you said that those would continue under Donald Trump in the next administration. What do you have planned? Well, I know you don't want to give away the whole game book.
It's simply just you already know where they are. Hire more ICE agents. Have more ICE agents. Triple, quadruple, and then start deporting, man. You already know where they're located in New York City and a lot of these places here. Make it easier for a lot of locals can just report them. You can even see them. You can see them. You say then, hey, there's a couple of illegal immigrants in Walmart and this and this and that. Just take a look and let me, just to give you a heads up, and they go, ICE agent go there, they can identify whether or not they're illegal. If they're illegal, you get arrested and they get deported. Easy, folks. We're not making this more complicated. We're not feeling, no. But comprehensive reform, no. We're not doing that.
But you do have deportations, mass workplace stuff planned, any other kind of category of deportations of interest?
Look, as the president said on stage many times, which I agree with 100%, it's going to be the same it was during his first administration. which is just a hell of a lot more of them because 10 million people have entered this country illegally under the Biden administration, or they actually let into this country, even though it's violation of federal law, what they've been doing, the abuse of the parole authority. But look, I've been clear, President Trump's been clear. Public safety threats and national security threats will be the priority because they have to be. They pose the most danger to this country. So we're going to prioritize those groups, those who always have final orders, those that had due process at great taxpayer expense, and the federal judge says you must go home, and they didn't. They became a fugitive. So, and as part of worksite operations have to happen. Here's why, Steve. Where do we find most victims of sex trafficking and forced labor trafficking? At work sites. And the Biden administration shut down work sites. On one point, they say we care about sex trafficking and human trafficking. Then they shut down work site enforcement, which is one of the main areas we find the victims of this. I want to add one more thing, another priority. This administration has lost over 300,000 children that were smuggled in this country by criminal cartels they can't find. That's another priority. We need to save these children because some of these children are in forced labor, some of these children are in sex trafficking, some of these children are living a life of hell every day. And we need to save these children and get them back with their families.
You know, Tom, first of all, congratulations to you. And I'm so glad for the Border Patrol that morale is already being lifted. They have just been beaten down by the policies of this last administration. I'm really encouraged by what you're saying because I think the toughest part of your job isn't the deportation. It's dealing with the propaganda from the other side saying that what you're doing is not compassionate, that it's not humanitarian. And what do you plan to do? I'm glad you mentioned the 300,000 children that are missing, but how are you going to deal with those kinds of attacks, even though you know that this open border has led to sex trafficking of children and an exponential increase of child labor, illegal child labor?
Frankly, I don't care what people think about me.
There we go. That's the attitude. There we go. That's the attitude. That's the attitude. Even the questions that she asking is coming from a very weak stance, right? What do you tell man? At this point, you cannot care what the other side said. The other side wanted conservatives to be in prison. They were trying to put Trump in prison. These people wanted to have communism in the entire country. There's no way. There's no reason to play nice, folks. The playing nice is over. That's it. We're playing by the law. We are basically enforcing laws that are even already in the book. The Supreme Court already decided that it's the federal government's job to take care of immigration. That means, based on that decision, when they went to decide between the federal government versus Texas, hey, they messed up big time. That means that Trump can go to New York, California, all these places that have sanctuary city, and they cannot do anything. There you go. That's it.
Left. Again, when you have a historic crisis, a crisis this big, here's what they need to know. When you have a crisis this big that overwhelms the Border Patrol, where the majority of Border Patrol are no longer on patrol, they're making sandwiches, they're changing diapers, they're making baby formula, they're making hospital runs, they're making airport runs. When you take most of the Border Patrol agents off the border to deal with humanitarian crisis, that's when the fentanyl comes across to kill 250,000 Americans. That's when the sex trafficking has increased 600%. That's when non-suspected terrorists has crossed this country. They've had a record of people on terrorist watch list that have been arrested at the southern border. That's why you have over 2 million gotaways. How many of them came from a country sponsoring terror? So I don't care what anybody's opinion is on illegal immigration. When you create a crisis this big, all these other bad things happen. That's why you have to secure the border. I don't care if you're a Republican, a Democrat, or independent. Border security is national security. We should all be on the same side of that. I've been saying this for the last couple of years. And the director of the FBI actually agrees with me. I don't respect him greatly, but he agrees with me. The southwest border is the biggest national security vulnerability this nation's ever seen. He sees more red flags now than ever before. We have to secure the border. And as far as the people want to push back on deporting these people, what is the option? You have a right to claim asylum. You have a right to see a judge, and we make that happen. But at the end of that due process, if the judge says you must go home, then we have to take them home. And because if we're not, what the hell are we doing? If the judge's order doesn't mean anything, then shut down the immigration court, take the Border Patrol off the border, so there's no consequences violating the laws of this country. We'll give you a fair shake. You get a chance to claim asylum, but due process doesn't mean squat if the final decision of the court isn't carried out. What is the option? Let them all stay? Because if that's
and that's the case. I mean, United States disease to exist. That's it. There's no need for the United States, because that means you're basically degrading your citizenship. Then that should mean no country. That means that all the state needs to secede from the union, because that means the federal government failed to their job. It gets that deep, folks. If the federal government to protect the states, right? That's the agreement, and they're failing to do so. So the state is gonna secede. Now you can say, but the court decided that secession is not constitutional. I agree, but there's something called, civil war. Yeah, that's in the table. That's how you really fix this thing. So that's why Trump is going very hard in the immigration, because that can keep the nation together.
The option you want, you're never going to fix the southern border, because you send a message to the whole world: come to the United States, enter the country legally, which is a crime. Don't show up in court, or show up in court, get an order removal, but you still get to stay. That doesn't work.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, Tom,
It's like they're treating them like they have rights. They come to the United States, they have a court order, meaning that they have rights, I guess. So you have to come at the X, Y, and Z date. All of a sudden, nobody knows where they are. They can change their name. They can buy Social Securities in the black market. All this stuff.
To build a wall, and he got to stop sanctuary cities. Both times the Democrats stopped every time he went forward, they gum you up in court. You don't have to give it away, but is there a plan if sanctuary cities, these city councils, don't allow the sanctuary cities to go away? Is there a plan B you have?
Well, I think, look, it'd be great to have local law enforcement assist ICE, because, one thing we learned during 9/11 report was we shouldn't have stovepipes. Law enforcement should work with law enforcement. But, there's two things. Number one, under President Trump, he was suing the sanctuary cities, DOJ suing the sanctuary cities, pulling federal funds. Of course, day one, when Joe Biden came in office, he stopped that lawsuit. So that has to be put back in place. And look, I've seen some of these Democratic governors say they're going to stand in the way. They're going to make it hard for us. Well, a suggestion: if you're not going to help us, get the hell out of the way, but we're going to do it. So if we can't get assistance from New York City, and we may have to double the number of agents we send to New York City, because we're going to do the job. Mm-hmm. We're going to do the job without you or with you. But it's much easier to arrest a bad guy. Like I just said, we're concentrating on public safety threats of human and national security threats. Right. It's much easier to arrest a bad guy in the jail. Give us access to Rikers Island that we've been kicked out of. Let us get the bad guy into jail. It's safer for the alien. It's safer for the officer. It's safer for the community. But if you're going to release these bad guys, out in the community, then we're going to have to go find them, which puts the officer at risk, puts the community at risk, and puts, and bottom line.
Yeah, but these people don't want to hear that. These people don't want to hear that. You think the Democrats in New York City, they voted for this stuff? No, at this point, you have to basically go full force. You cannot even negotiate that. Sadly, you have to go full force, no matter what they say. If they want to smoke, let it be. I'm just being honest, guys. At this point, you have to let it be like that. You have to. There's no other option, folks. If there was other option, listen, I'll be happy to listen to it. But at this point, there's none. At this point, there's none. I can't see it. I can't see it. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you in the next one.